It's the Sumo Show, the podcast that discusses everything that's going on in Japanese Grand Sumo. Whether you've been steeped in sumo lore since the Heisei era, like me, Stan, or you're a dedicated fan who wants to get deep into what's happening on and off the dohyo, or you're pretty new to the world of sumo, like our friend Troy, and want to learn what it's all about. No matter how much you know about the sport, the Sumo Show has something for you. So let's throw some purifying salt in the ring, do a few big Shiko foot stomps, tie our mawashis, and wash our top knots, and see what's happening on this week's episode of the Sumo Show. So konnichiwa, everyone, and Hokkaido, welcome back to my co-host Troy.
A good Mawashi nodding unto thee.
A good mawashi nodding to you.
Yeah.
The traditional greeting at the Hayaheya.
That's right. The Hayaheya, your family.
Everybody's family at the Hayaheya.
That's right. That's right. It's Chanko. Thank you. I was like, I know that that's not right, so I just kept repeating it and hoping that it would come out right.
Keep saying Chenko. No,
Chanko. Yeah. But I was going to say that it's Chanko Nabe and fun here at the Hayaheya, and we won't wrestle you because primarily because we're the ricketiest rickshy.
We are the ricketiest rickshy.
Absolutely.
That sounds like that could be a holiday song, holiday classic.
Feels like
ricketiest rickshy.
Yes, I'll think of some lyrics. Maybe we'll perform it, some caroling in our future. I'm looking now on Facebook. I'm trying to see if we got a double whamster. Oh, look at that. Okay, I think that we're live.
Okay, well that's good.
Now this is I think Linnea as well as I got a little weird pop up that said Linnea needs approval to post, and I'm like, no.
Man, just when everything's working, they decide to make it not work.
Like they did some changes to Facebook and they did some changes to Restream, which are two things that we utilized quite frequently, and it got weird. So I'm not sure why you would require permission. And send me a little note, Lynn, if you've got if you keep running into problems. I will give Zuckerberg a call and give him a piece of my mind.
That'll do it.
Yeah. So anyway, so it is the Kyushu Basho preview.
Yes, it is. You sound confused. It's a Kyushu Basho preview. Yeah, well, I mean, the Kyushu Basho starts in about 24 hours actually. If you go by Japan time.
Okay. I will.
And and we're here getting ready for it. We're excited for some sumo to finish out the sumo year.
That's
sumo
right.
Calendar.
Yeah, some fun sumo commentary to cleanse the otherwise sullied palate, perhaps. We'll make it fun. We'll close out the week with some mirth and some girth and some what's the thing that rhymes with girth?
And for everything it's worth.
That's right. That's right. Or your money back. Love it.
Absolutely.
Well, we should do this for a living, I think.
Well, we would if anyone would pay us.
That's the problem, isn't it? Yeah.
It's the hang up. That's the hang up.
Well, we do it for love.
Love of the game.
Love of the game. Yeah, nice. I'm looking forward to the conversation. I'm also looking forward to another thing.
What's that?
Do you want to guess?
Is it the weekend where you wash your top knot?
It is. Well, what I like to do on weekends like this is I like to wash the top knot and I soak it for a while and I ruminate on who I think is going to win. In multiple categories.
You put it in Palmolive dishwashing.
That's right.
You're soaking in it.
That's right. That's That's
what your top knot is soaking in it.
Your top knot is soaking in it. Yeah. So I just do that, but I do it at a park, which I think it just gives me some air to breathe, and it's fresh and it's crisp, and
there you go.
It stresses the neighbors. But I get to fill out my Fantasy Oyakata, I guess is the
Oh
point.
yes, that thing, that old game thing. We
Yeah,
got still got still got about 12 hours, little more,
because
15, 16 hours to fill
that's
that
right.
out.
That's right. And if you haven't yet to, maybe you're not hanging out on Facebook, just I'm going to drop it in chat. So if you're listening on demand, give it a click. Click on the link that you find, and it will take you uh, right to Funky Town, and you will be able to fill out the form and try to prevail. Try to be the rickshaw that wins it all.
Yeah, yes.
Steep competition, I'm telling you.
Won't you take me to Oyakata Town?
I was going to say that too, but it just didn't have the,
Yeah, it doesn't quite scan right,
not quite.
but I was feeling my oats. I thought I'd give
I
it a
liked it.
shot.
I think you pulled it off. You pulled it off where in a way that I would not have been able to. You're a singer though. You sing.
That's because I just don't care and I'll go for it.
Maybe it's that. Yeah, maybe but you
Uh,
are a singer. Like you're. We keep threatening to put together a sumo show,
the musical episode.
musical episode where we just sing about. I dibs on the Shodai act.
Oh, there you go. No one could sing that but you.
I've got some words, but I'm interested to see how he performs. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Who
Nobody
knows what?
knows the sea bream I've seen.
I like that.
Nobody knows but
I
Shodai.
thought you were gonna say nobody knows the Shodai that will come. Like is it gonna be the one that is he gonna perform? Is he going to show up and be a petulant, sullen sea bream of a man?
Yeah,
Or it's
we don't know.
it's a real thinker.
It is a puzzlement.
It is a puzzlement, a bedevilment at times.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so weirdly, I mean, usually we get to this episode, right? We get to the Friday before, and there's just tons of reports of what went on in training
oh
for
yeah,
me to talk about. Not not so many. I don't know whether my sources just weren't talking; they were too busy with other matters in the world, or
right,
what.
yeah,
But there were only a few different sources, and none of them are really big, exciting. Well, I mean, big exciting is very often someone's hurt, someone's not going to be in it, blah blah. None of that's going on. I've got a few notes from the Sumo News, but not a lot.
okay,
Um, which means, of course, it's just going to be you and me, kind of doing what we did last week, and saying, "Well, here's what I think.
sure. I mean, I
This
like
is
it.
how it looks in Seattle."
Damp. Yes, I was well, I'll tell you it is these conversations that help inform my decision making as it relates to, my picks for the Fantasy Oyakata, and not that everything I do is driven by that, but it
Right.
is, it wasn't until
It is. You know what? If you win again this time, it will. You will never
you will have
think of
hooked
this
me.
is going to be it. This is going to be your life.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like that second addictive hit. But yeah, so let's see. I'm hoping to do a repeat and then a three-peat, and and on I go. As is my way. I mean, no, I
Yeah.
don't ever win anything, so I'm just milking it as I can. But if I win again, that'll just be
That'll be
amazing.
it. And if you win again, I'm just canceling the damn show.
You're like, I'm done. I've
You're
done my
through.
work here. I've evolved the newbie.
My work here is done.
That's
I
right.
may now sail off to the east and
Yes,
fade away.
that's right. Yeah, we go establish a new heya in some small
Right.
town where
Go to a small town, start a new heya, and
person
start
is like,
again.
yeah, some person is like, if only I could learn more about sumo. The winds are calling. Right, like a David, was it David Carradine who was in
Yeah,
that? What was that?
kung fu.
Kung Fu. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking more like Mary Poppins. Like I grab an umbrella and I float off, and I come down in another town that is in desperate need of my sumo help.
Larry Poppins, gentleman sommelier. I dig it.
Oh
I dig it. Yeah, I'd watch that. I'd watch that movie.
man. On demand, but would you pay for it? That's the
I
question.
don't know that I would rent it, but I would go with a friend who was buying a ticket.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah. Right on.
All right.
Yeah,
All
what's up
right.
next?
The end. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. No. So the things we do, I did get out of the sumo news. Well, I mean, one of them is about Shodai,
No,
because Shodai uh, turned 33 this week. It was his birthday
no
on
joke.
the 5th, on Tuesday. Just another terrible thing that happened Tuesday. Shodai turned 33.
Wow.
And the interesting thing was that after practice, reporters were coming around to him and asking him, and he was giving very Shodai answers, like, I don't know, I'm really not feeling it. I can't. Things aren't happening as much as they did when I was younger. I didn't think this would happen, and but I am feeling older. And basically, he sat there and whined about getting old.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What?
it
Why?
was. I was reading this and going, What is this? Who? This guy? You couldn't write this character.
That is
Oh,
just so
but the thing
bizarre.
is, he's doing pretty well in practice. So, but he was just saying that it takes longer. He hurts more in the morning. This getting old sucks.
I mean, yeah, sure. Okay. I mean, yeah. So he's just basically being Shodai,
Yeah,
and yeah, he
even when things are going well. Mwah, mwah.
it's not really like he's trying to manage expectations of folks in case he's not good. He's just basically not thinking about sumo and bemoaning getting old.
But I mean, of course, as we if you didn't watch last week when we went over the Bansuke, he's back in Sanyaku this time. He's a Komusubi again. So
Yeah.
turned 33, he's Komusubi, and all he can do is whine about it.
That cracks me up. Friends, I think I see that we're not on. For some reason, I see the video on Facebook, but I don't see it on our page. I don't know what that means, but you'll hear me clicking, clacking in the background. Not ignoring you, Stan. Just wondering what
Okay.
the heck's going on. So I'll be doing it real quick.
Oh my goodness.
Now
Oh,
we have to do the whole
technology.
first part over again.
Well, I can't do that again. I only
No,
do one show a night. I
that's
won't I won't do it. I won't do it.
right.
So Shodai turned 33, uh Komusubi, and whining about everything. So that was maybe the funniest bit of news that I was able to glean out of the sumo reports. Um, Takayasu also seems to be doing really well in pre-match, pre-tournament uh, training bouts. And the question, of course, with him is always, can he stay healthy for 15 days?
Yeah.
Oh, Papa Bear. He's, oh, man, I'm so. It just makes me sad because at this point, I figured he's never, ever going to win a Basho. And, uh, and I so want him to. And I know that he's never going to reach the heights that 3 or 4 years ago. It's like, you know what, he has a serious chance. He could really become if he puts it together, he could win a couple of tournaments and become a Yokozuna. He couldn't even hold on to the Ozeki, and he just
Yeah.
it it happens, right? You get that point in the sumo career, and you're injured, and and he's doing great, you know, based on that. But no, he's Magashira 9 this time, which means his schedule will be relatively good. So we'll see. Just kind of hope if he stays healthy, he could have another very good tournament. He's he's low enough on the Banzuke that he will have a decent shot at ranking up, maybe getting in the mix until they start pushing him up the Banzuke.
Right. Right.
So we'll see. Um, Hoshodyu also looking good. He's it's been almost a year and a half since he won a tournament, and even he is talking about that. He kind of feels like he needs to win a tournament, but I don't think he's any more likely than he usually is, as we talk about all the time. I think that he is a solid 10 or 11 wins, and he has to have an extraordinary tournament to do better than that. At the very least, he needs to stop losing on day one.
Yeah, that seems like an
So
important.
as we're getting ready for the tournament to start, maybe one of the big things I'm looking at on day one is, can Hoshoryu notch a win?
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous, right? Of course he can. He's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but this is the big worry, right? If he wins on day one, the sky's the limit.
And I hope. I mean, I want to see Horshoyu do something primarily because I just expect him to. I just, I'm always surprised as a sumo newbie when I look at him and I think, yeah, he's got some. He walks with some swagger and he's got some gravitas, and then sometimes it just doesn't do it.
Yeah,
it doesn't do it.
There was a day last week. I don't remember which day it was, where a bunch of Richie all gathered. You know how in this week before the tournament they go visiting other stables to have fights against people of the same level. And there was a day when a bunch of people came to his stable, and he beat everyone. I don't think he had any losses except Kirishima. Kirishima beat him. I think it was 6-3 out of 9 times they fought. So Hoshoryu's looking good. It can't apparently do much against Kirishima. Kirishima clearly also doing good. Based on what he's done the last 2 tournaments, if he can really have a terrific tournament, if he can get 13 or 14 wins, there's a possibility he could get promoted back to Ozeki for the January tournament. I'd forgotten that was a possibility. I thought he needed at least 2 more tournaments the way he was at. But no, he did well enough that 13 wins is a really good tournament. But he's done it before. So if he has one of his best tournaments, if he has a big winning tournament, he could be in Ozeki in January again.
That's exciting.
And word is that he's not looking at all precious about his. He had that flare up in his neck that was causing this, and everyone was worried that this was going to become an ongoing thing. He seems to be in good shape. Of course, again, as we know, the problem with those kind of injuries is everything's great until it's not.
Right.
But right now, he's not moving like he's worried about it or he's protecting it, and he's looking really good.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's heartening, at least.
The last thing that I got was on Monday of this week, the 4th. On Monday, Onosato and Kotozakura. I don't remember who came to whose stable. Actually, no. Onosato. No, never mind. I don't know. But they fought each other 20 times on Monday, and it was pretty even.
In the one day?
Yeah, one day.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's to get together. That is a lot. Usually, at this point, they're trying to do between 15 and 20 a day total, and they did 20 against head to head against each other.
Interesting.
And Onosato had the edge, but it was 11-9, so pretty much a 50-50 split, which is very interesting. Both of them are healthy and young and looking for some Yusho action.
Well, yeah, I am.
So yeah, that's where that stands. I don't know. Should we pull up the Bonzu? We can look at the Bonzuke again, or do
Von Zooks? I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious if in juxtaposition to last week, if you've got some thoughts on, we've touched on sort of your initial kind of concerns and the hopes
Right.
for, but is there anything that jumps out at you, especially as we relates to? I'm curious how much I should take into account the white guy.
Shishi.
Yeah, Shishi.
Uh, so Shishi, unclear, right? This is the first time ever getting up to this level, and we've talked a bit about the fact that we see we see two things when that happens, right? One is that what you expect is that they've got to learn that this is a new level, and
Yeah,
they've got to learn their way, and they may have if they're lucky, they have a good tournament and they have a kachikoshi, but they may just between the nerves of that big promotion
yeah,
and the fact that they're fighting against a higher caliber of Rikshi, uh, it's not unusual for someone their first time up to kind of stumble a bit. So we watched
yeah.
Roga for the last
That's
year
right. Yeah,
kind of try and figure it out, and he seems to have finally done that. But then we see other people like Onosato, uh, like um, like what's his name? Oh, blanking. Takeru Fuji
yeah,
last January, right? Who came in and just said, you know what, I'm ready for more, and just ate up the people around them. So and how can you predict which of those is going to happen? You
yeah.
get a gut feeling, and
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I had a gut feeling about Shishi, is that he's not going to tear everyone up, but I
Okay.
don't. I I think he could do well enough to hang around up here. It took him a long time hanging out in the top of the Jurio division. So I think that that was where his last big ceiling that he had to push through was. And I'm going to guess the next ceiling is going to be around Maegashira 10. So I don't think uh, my guess is that he will be fine this tournament here at Maegashira 16. He will get his Kachikoshi and he'll go up. He probably won't get more than 8 or 9 wins. I don't expect him to have a big blowout introduction to the top division. But I expect that he'll do okay.
Interesting. And sorry, I don't mean to sound distracted, but I'm just
That's
looking at.
right. You're also trying to do that other thing.
I am. I'm trying to get.
Did you
I'm trying
figure
to
it
type
out?
this out, and not yet, and I don't know why. It's a strange. The live thing isn't up. Like it's just very odd. And then so I set up the event through Restream, which changed a little bit, but
Right.
but um, Facebook shows that it was supposed to start at 5, but that's not anything I
That's
see.
not right.
Yeah. So who knows? My apologies, friends, if
I
you
don't know.
cannot. I
Do you know? I don't know.
don't know. What do you know?
Uh, tell you, I'm looking at something right now just to see if I had a thought of what it might have gone wrong, and it's not that. Okay, good.
Oh, believe me, that was the first thing I got really worried about. Like I was thinking, are we giving a gift to Green Ronin or
Uh,
some other Facebook page that I
right.
own?
Well, I was thinking that it might have just gone to my old. It's because the Restream account is my Restream account.
That's right. Yeah,
I
no,
was
but I
thinking, did it just send it to my channel instead of the Sumo
right,
channel? Which,
right.
dude, I don't want to
It
happen
did not.
again.
It's weird because I can see the video. I can see that when I can hit play on it, I've got the site muted, so it's not playing to me, but it's us, but I'm not seeing it live on our actual, you know, uh, the Sumo Show Facebook page. So
What are you gonna do?
I don't know, really, honestly.
I don't. Yeah, we'll
But
figure it out later.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because there's no hope
Because
of
we're
figuring it
doing
out.
live. Yeah, yeah.
All
So
right, so that was your question was about Shishi, and
yeah, it was.
while we're looking here, we'll start. Last time we did top of the Banzuke down. Let's do bottom of the Banzuke up here. So let's look at right now on the screen. We've got Maegashira 10-17. And as I said last time, one of the big things is because things are settling out at the top area, we now have 2 Maegashira 17s instead of just
Oh,
one.
nice.
Which is, it's funny because the number of Rikishi in the top division doesn't change, but how many of them are Maegashira versus in the Sanyaku will shift around depending on how many Ozeki and how many Yokozuna and things
Right.
like that. So we're back to this is as big as it gets usually, right? Well, I guess no. If we have fewer Ozeki, if we were down to just 2 Ozeki, we would get all the way down to a Maegashira 18.
Oh,
It can happen.
yeah.
But the number of people in the division stays at 42 always. So we look here. We got down at the bottom. Asakoryu and Bushozan. Bushozan's back for the first time in a while. I don't expect anything big from him, but he's been in the top division a bunch. If he's back healthy again, he should be able to. He's a guy who's in danger of going to that 7-7. Got to visit Stan's house on the final day.
Right.
Asakoryu, this is his first tournament in the top division ever. So kind of like Shishi.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll see how they go. Takeru Fuji is back after last January beating everybody and then snapping his ankle in half.
Oh yeah.
He's now back. So the question is, well, the questions with him are, is he in the shape he was a year ago? Or just kind of ring sense wise, like having that time off, even if we assume that his ankle is healed up as well as it can be healed up, there's so much of that rest of that rhythm of sumo and getting in and having your ring sense on, and so question is he there now? If I remember correctly, he has won the Juryo Yusho the last 2 tournaments in a row, so it seems like he was in a good rhythm. But things are different when you hit the top division. So to me, that's the big question. It seems like he's healthy again, which is good news. The second big question is when he gets to the top of the division. If he's healthy, he should start by kicking these people down at the bottom of the Banzuke around the same way he did last January. He seems to have their numbers. Like he seems to be better than that.
Right.
The question is, once he starts getting pushed up to fight the top level, the top of the division guys, which if he's doing well, he will, right? If he's in the mix for the Yusho, they will. That's what happened to him in January last time. And he beat everyone anyway. But as we've talked about, he's got a very distinctive style, and it takes people a while to figure it out. But the best of the best will figure it out. And the question is, have they come up with strategies that will work when they have to fight him? So
I'd love to be a fly in the wall when they talk about that, because I bet there's a lot to be learned just culturally on how that's sort of kind of architected. But I'm very curious to see how people respond to, because I know they practice hard. I mean, like they're really doing it. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't down here. He's he's one of those real potentials, right? He could go back for another Yusho run from here at Maegashira 16. His week 1, I'm betting that he is going to kick everyone's butt in week 1. And the question is what happens in week 2.
Yeah,
if he doesn't kick everyone's butt in week 1, then the whole thing falls apart.
Got it.
Got Onokatsu, who's up for his second tournament in the top division. A lot of us bet on him last time, and he let us down.
That's
Mine
right.
was put
That's right.
in the fantasy oyakata. I say bet. There's no money. It's fantasy oyakata is just
Yeah.
he was picked on a lot of teams because he was Onosato's biggest challenger in college and in amateur sumo, and so there's a lot of expectation that he was going to come up and have the same kind of rocket up to the top experience, and he didn't.
Right.
He just didn't. But he certainly has what it takes, and I do think that he'll figure it out and he'll get there. I don't think that this tournament is when it's going to happen, but it could be. He'll learn the lessons he needs to learn, and then again, like I say, 2 years ago he was the biggest challenge to Onokatsu and or uh, Onosato, and so it seems like he should be able to still be a big fly in his ointment, which means he belongs at the top of the division. If
Right.
all that's true. Tokihate is here for his second or third division tournament in the top division. Who else have we got here? Nishikigi, Chiyoshima, Ryuden's still hanging around. Shonan, Naomi, Sadanomi, Hokuto Fuji, Tamawashi. A lot of names we know. I don't know. I have to say that here in this lower Maegashira section for our Fantasy Oyakata game, it's a tough choice. I think Takeru Fuji may be the one worth taking the risk on. Uh, uh, if he's doing well, he's going to kick butt down here. If he's in good shape, I don't know whether or not I kind of just I don't know whether I expect him to do like he did in January.
Yeah. Well, why? Why
But
not?
he could
Just
because sometimes it's just a fluke, right? You come
Yeah.
in and nobody knows you, and you're feeling your oats, and you're good, and all the stars align, right? We'd say that with any of these guys who win one tournament, right? A lot of the division is good enough in a fortnight when everything goes their way that they will beat everyone and win the tournament.
Yeah.
Was that what happened in January? We don't know. It's almost a year later, and this is our first chance to find out whether or not it was a fluke or whether he really is that good. I would say his winning Juryo Yusho tells me that he's pretty good, but it's a different game here in the top division. Still, I'm leaning pretty heavily to he's one of my two choices that I'm thinking about taking. And the other one is
Should I?
Toka Hayate.
Okay. What now?
Right above him, Toki Hayate,
Yeah.
who came in and was kind of touted as doing great. And he and Onokatsu both came in last tournament, touted for doing really well, and both of them kind of had a stumble. I've got more faith in Toki Hayate than I do in Onokatsu. Maybe it's because he burned me last time, and I'm just feeling like I don't want to forgive him.
Yeah. Right.
Or maybe it's Toki Hayate has been in the professional sumo game for a longer period of time, and Onokatsu, as we can see from the picture of him having short hair still, is not been in as long. So there you go. Do you have any thoughts or insights here in the bottom of the division?
I don't really. Outside of just being a more astute evaluator and watcher of their hijinks, it is definitely helpful for me, and I'm finding that I can actually remember. You know what I mean? Like I'm, one or two of their names or one or two of their
Right.
Hey, look, it's that person. But so yeah, I can't speak to what I I can't speak to a prediction yet. And even if I did, that was very proprietary, and I'd have to charge everyone. But
You know, I tell you what, that's my disadvantage, and I'm telling everyone what I think. So
that's right. That's right. And then we crack the code, and keep our cards close to our vest. And no, for me, like I just need to sit down with the. I find that doing the fantasy oyakata really puts me in a headspace to
yeah,
better absorb what's going on, because it gives me some context.
right,
But I need to look at it first to get a real you know
right.
to see what it tells me,
I see. I
to
get
summon the
I hear
prediction.
you.
Yeah, but
All right.
for now, we talked about the white guy. What's his name?
Say the white guy,
Itchy,
Shishi. I mean,
Shishi.
it's already a silly enough name. You got to just
Hey, listen, this mine came with the whole package. But yeah, no, I'm just curious to see how he'll do. I love the
yeah,
insight,
yeah,
and but I honestly, I do also expect to see, Tobizawa do something better. You know what I mean? Be
right.
to perform better for sure, but I don't know if that's in the cards.
We'll see. Well, Tobizaru, not so. Our next set we're looking at are the middle Maegashira, which is
Yeah,
Maegashira 6 to Maegashira 10.
yeah,
As you can see here at the top, Tobizaru is still in the top. He's
yeah.
Maegashira 5. So
Hanging right there on the yeah.
he's not someone we're thinking about in this next grouping.
Fair
But
enough.
here we've got, going from the bottom to the top, we've got Ichi Yamamoto and Takada Fuji, Takayasu, who we talked about earlier, is
Yeah.
doing well, looking healthy, doing well, and ranked at Maegashira 9, which gives him a. It's not as um, it's not as lucky for him as if he was a few ranks lower, but it's still pretty far down. Uh, Midori Fuji is down here. We've got to see if he can recover from everyone figuring out how to beat the tiny guy.
Right, right.
Roga is at his top rank
Now
ever.
that's a very curious one.
There
Like,
you go.
is he at is this the outset of his rise to the top? And should we start,
Yeah,
throwing down some at least some attention to see? I don't know. That's
right.
yeah,
Gonoyama and Endo and Mitakeumi up there at the Maegashira 7 rank. Um, I don't know. Both of them, they're both guys I like, who every tournament to tournament, kind of in the Shodai way. I just don't know which one of them is going to show up.
right, right, yeah,
They don't swing as wide, but
right.
there's good Endo, and then there's, well, I guess he's taking the tournament off Endo, um, eh, which usually is a difference between a 9-6 and a 6-9. Um, Takayumi also has an ongoing shoulder issue. Plus, he seems every once in a while to just not care anymore. I know that's not what's happening, but
Right.
that's the vibe I get off when he loses, and he just kind of goes, "Man, never mind. I'm gonna bow and go back and have a bowl of rice." I don't know. I don't know. I've been a big Mitakemi fan for the last 10 years, and at this stage in his career. Uh, I find very little to make me excited about him anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and here's my thing too, Sanjay. I mean, not for nothing, but if you're getting that sense and you're picking up on that vibe, it's because you can read the room, right? I mean, it's I think I would be more inclined to believe you that you're not just being cranky and
Right, but I mean the difference. It's weird because we we really love that attitude when they're winning,
yeah,
and we don't like it when they lose and they still strut. I don't know. We talked about this with Hoshoryu a lot, right?
yeah,
When he was coming up, he would win most of his matches, and even when he would lose one, he'd still seem proud, and that was good. Mitakeomi is 50-50 and seems proud. I think that's the difference, right? If you're doing well and you don't let defeat get you down, then that feels like a real positive character show. if you're a coin toss and you're still walking around like you're the king of the ring, then that's just a self delusion.
Right, right. That makes
It's
sense.
living off your old press clippings.
Right.
Right?
That's right. Yeah.
And that's the feeling that I get from Mitake Umi. Uh, that having been said, if he gets on a run, he could have a great tournament. But I just never expect him to. I expect him to be in that 50-50 rank and walk around like the cat's pajamas.
Yeah, and when you're walking around like the cat's pajamas, of course, that means I just giving you the biz. It means he's far too comfortable, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then Nishikigi and Takanosho. Takanosho had a terrible tournament last time.
Yeah,
Kind of expect him to bounce back well this tournament. So here in this grouping, for me, the big people to keep an eye on, Takanosho for sure, and Takayasu for all the reasons we talked about earlier. It that's kind of you're betting on it on the coin coming up heads rather than tails.
right.
And just kind of looking here, Nishikigi has been having a really good year. I don't mean to discount him, but every time I think, all right, well that's good, but now he's kind of where he needs to be. He he has another good tournament. So and certainly I'm not leaning towards putting him on my team, but um, but he is someone I think. Yeah, he could have a really good tournament here at Maegashira 6.
Yeah,
Those are the three I've got my eye on: Takanosho, Nishikigi, and Takayasu.
interesting.
You had your eye on Roga, you said.
Yeah, just I'm curious about. Yeah, I like seeing him start to rise because we talked I think geez many shows ago just about
Yeah,
I just asked the question. I thought he should be performing better,
yeah. Yeah. Well, it
and
looks like
he yeah
he's starting to. So maybe this is time he's gonna start that big upward push. Could well be. And Midori Fuji also, um, he wound up with the problem that, like we say all the time, there's a little guy. Once the bigger guys have a good sense for your rhythm and your movement
yeah
and either guessing what you're going to do or reading what you're going to do, you're in big trouble, and you've got to figure out something new to change the view to just keep them from feeling so comfortable.
yeah yeah
And usually that happens when you wind up doing badly and drop back down to mid to lower Maegashira. Is Maegashira 9 low enough? Maybe, maybe not.
right
So he's I guess he's another guy that it depending on how the stars align, as we were saying earlier, uh, this could be another good point for him to launch another attack up the Bansuke. I don't see a lot of people around him that he should have a terrible problem with. I don't expect him to crush them, but he can compete at this level. But he's trying to figure out uh, his next big tweak to his sumo so
yeah
that he can win against the top level people some more.
yeah
All right, so then let's go to our upper Maegashira. And they're starting from Maegashira 5 to Maegashira 1. We've got Tobizaru, our flying monkey. After that couple of down tournaments, has dropped down to the bottom of the upper.
of the upper yeah
And Koto Shoho doing all right. Churanomi has one of those guys I've discounted over and over, and he just keeps winning. And I do every day of the tournament. I pick each match who I think is going to win and lose, and I keep track of my records. And it's usually only about day 10 that I suddenly look and I go, why do I keep not picking Shota Naomi? Um, so maybe I'll be smarter. Maybe I'll pick them earlier this time.
Right.
Oshoma is there, and the Tommy Fuji and Abi. Tommy Fuji, has he learned his lesson? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I keep wanting him to, and he keeps not. Although he's been right around the 6 and 7 or 8 and 7, 7 and 8 level the last few tournaments. Um, After coming up like a house on fire, uh, and then hitting the top and finding that he well, I mean, we talk about it, right? He seemed starstruck. I mean, he wasn't ready to compete against these guys who he idolized, is what it looked like. Um, Now that he seems to be ready to do he doesn't have the momentum that he had
Yeah.
last time,
That's right.
and he's trying to gather it all back and make another run at it. In the meanwhile, with the way he's been performing, I think we can expect him to, at the very least, stick around here at the Maegashira 2 to Maegashira 5 level. Um, but if he can get it sorted out, look for him to make a run back up to the Sanyaku.
What do you,
Abi,
real quick before we move on, what do you think? Like, when your experience with sumo, knowing that each wrestler is their own unique, powerhouse and with their own foibles and strengths and all that,
yeah,
what's the typical? What would you expect to happen? Are you in a place where you're like, I think he's going to do it,
so
and or are you skeptical, or like, well, I'm just curious.
here, I mean, here's the problem: is that it really is. I mean, it sounds. I know uh, you weren't being mocking when you said each one is their own unique snowflake, but you know what? Each one is their own unique snowflake, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like the Shodai problem that we talk about. Right? It's an internal switch that has to go, and how you can pick who will have that and who won't. If you say anything other than you're just guessing, you're full of crap.
Right. That's yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. That is wise words. And for folks who are new to sumo like me,
Yeah,
don't be scared. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. You're almost as much. Your guess is sometimes as good, if not
yeah,
better.
yeah.
If you're into it, if you're doing it. Yeah.
And they will show you their true nature. Their true nature will come out in the ring, and the ones that succeed and succeed and succeed, you can see that. And the ones that kind of yo-yo on it, it uh, you can see in a Tommy Fuji when he's fighting, even when he
Yeah.
loses, he's trying hard, and you can see him thinking after he loses, like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that," or he expresses more emotion than a lot of Rikishi do.
Yeah.
He looks like a big baby. He's got that cute little baby
That's
face.
right. That's right.
But he finishes and sometimes go, ooh, ooh, he didn't do it.
Get
Um,
mad. Yeah.
so you know, he certainly has learned some of the things that we were talking about. We wanted him to learn. You can see some of the improvements being made, but turns out that then there are other improvements that need to be made too, along with it. So my long-term expectation is that he'll figure it out. He's good for being a notch higher than this, right?
Yeah.
We're saying that he can hang around here at Maegashira 2 to 5, and that's clear. I think he's good for hanging out around Maegashira 1 to Sekiwake a lot.
Okay.
And if he gets it figured out, he's young and he's got the body and he's got the skills that he could become a Ozeki uh, shortlister, right? Someone who's pushing at that. But he's got to get these problems straightened out first.
Agreed.
Abi, I don't know about Abi. He pisses me off so often.
Yeah, huh?
I I just don't know what to do with him. He's good. He's got those long arms. He's got his own style that that people can't just find a way around. Um, but uh, it seems like he's never going to develop a really strong upper body. I'm not saying it's weak, but he does those long thrusts, but they land without a lot of force, without a lot of drive you backward force. What he does against his opponent is stand them up and then do something about it.
Right.
But he doesn't come out and just, like a lot of the pushers thrusters, blow them backwards. He's just got those long arms and fast hands, and he he gives you something that's difficult to deal with, but he's not dominating. And I don't know if it's a physique thing or he doesn't really want to bulk up in his upper body.
Right.
Um, but unless he does, I think that his fate is going to be very similar over the next 5 years, or until injury does something bad to him. That he's, you know, when the stars align and he gets a few good breaks, that's going to push him up to a 10 or 11 win tournament. And when the stars don't align, he's going to be uh, hovering around Kachikoshi. Down here at Maegashira 3, not low enough that it's going to make a big difference, but I think he's good for about 8 or 9 wins. And if he has a good tournament, 10 wins. Um, but, he's won a tournament. So he could do it again. It's
Yeah.
just anyone that's won a tournament, you always have them on the list of, if everything goes their way, no matter where they are on the ranking chart,
Right.
they could do it again.
The stars align, and
Yeah,
they have they have it in them to do it. Right.
yeah. Which includes Wakataka Kage there at Maegashira too. On his way back from that injury that dropped him all the way down, he's been steadily marching up, and he's running into the traffic jam at the top.
I thought you were just going to stop at traffic. He's running into traffic.
Yeah. So, he needs people above him to lose. I think Wakataka Kage is uh, is one of the big picks here.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he's got a really good shot. Again, if the injury hadn't come along, he was up there in the Sanyaku. He had won a tournament. He was looking good. I don't know if I was never convinced he was quite Ozeki material yet, but he was certainly a strong hang out there and become a something that the Ozeki had to worry about kind of guy. So here at Maegashira 2, and the way he's done the last few tournaments, I think he's a good pick here to do it again. We got Ura and Hiradomi and Oho. Hiradomi, after having great tournaments, slid down a little last time. Is he going to bounce right back? I don't know. Actually, this is one of those tournaments of test his mettle.
Yeah.
I don't know that that he is someone that I would pick as to keep my eye on because I think he's going to do great, but I certainly am keeping my eye on him for how I assess him going into 2025 and what I expect from him next year. Um so it's all curiosity and no certainty from me.
Fun. You love that place.
I do. So yeah, here looking at our that grouping there, our top division grouping. I think Wakataka Kage is on my list here. Atami Fuji and Abi uh, are both there. That they could be. They're reasonable choices. Toby Zaru there at Maegashira 5. I would be happier about picking him if he was in the middle rather than the top. Like if he had dropped down to Maegashira 6 instead of 5, I think he'd be high on my list of people to pick. Here at Maegashira 5, I just uh, there are people. The people I was naming above are more likely to have a really good tournament than he is. But he sure could, right? He's hung out in the Sanyaku level for most of the last year and a half. Um, yeah, I mean, this isn't going to help you in choosing, but the question is
But it's
how his week one goes.
and honestly, for me, it's less about looking for the definitive and more about informing the mindset. Which I think is
Right,
really helpful
right.
for me. Yeah.
But I mean, certainly at Micah Shearer 5, his week one is going to be easier than it has been recently. And as we often see, that's how if you can parlay a really strong week one and then get a little lucky in the middle weekend, suddenly you're in the mix for the championship.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so down here at Mike Shearer 5, he could do that. Um, he's not on my list. I'm not going to choose it. I'll tell you what, I am not going to choose Toby Zadu. That I can't tell you who I'm going to choose. I'll tell you I'm not going to choose Toby Zadu.
Yeah, I know, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't be either. It's just you won't want.
But he's not. I don't think it's an unreasonable choice. Again, you're not picking people who are going to win the tournament, though you hope to do that too. You're trying to pick people you think are going to get 9 wins, 8 or 9 wins at least, hopefully 9 or 10 wins.
Yeah.
And Toby Zadu there, Mike Shearer 5 is that certainly is a reasonable thing. He really could do that. I just personally am not feeling it. I'm feeling those other guys more.
Yeah.
All right, so then we came up to our Sekiwake area, our Sanyaku area, our Sekiwake and Komusubi, where we've got Shodai and Wakamoto Haru and Kirishima and Daisho. Whoo, boy, that's a tough one. That's probably the toughest pick of all. I don't know. I think they all could do really well. Even Shodai could do well.
Yeah, it is again. We'll say what we always say. It's just maddening. It's just yeah.
But as I think when we talked last week, I wound up saying that it could be any one of the other three, but I'm not picking Shodai.
Right,
It's
that's
not
right.
Shodai.
I'm half tempted, honestly.
But to give him his due, he could do it.
Yeah.
Really, any one of those is not an outlandish pick. Shodai is the longest shot among them.
Yeah.
But he was Ozeki for 2.5 years.
Yeah, and I always forget that, honestly. But you're right. Yeah, you're right. He definitely has it in him to do the thing.
Yeah, I think I'm going for Kirishima. Kirishima, as we were talking about earlier, has a potential Ozeki run this tournament if he can get 13 wins, and he's been healing up and looking better and looking better. And the last time I put this much faith in him, he let me down terribly.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's where I'm going.
All right.
And then we've got our top guys at Terunofuji, Kotozakura, Hoshoryu, and Onosato. Terunofuji is not going to be. I don't think it's been announced yet. It has to have been announced today, but it was so much not news that it didn't even come across my transom. He can't be fighting this tournament. He did no training, did no sparring.
Yeah.
So I will be super surprised if he's actually fighting this tournament. And even if he does, he's not ready to come in and dominate. I think of the four of them, despite the fact that I think he is the best, he's clearly the best. Rikshi, not this November. He's not. He's the worst choice. He's the worst choice in our champion level.
Yeah, right.
I think, and we said this last. I think the two to choose between are Kotozakura and Onosato. And as I said, they went head to head 20 times on Monday and basically split. So make of that what you will. I think Hoshoryu is until he starts doing it more often. I'm going to come into every tournament expecting him to get 10 wins, maybe 11. Which was that's not bad.
That's not bad,
That's
honestly.
really good.
But
But
it's
for our purpose of wanting to maximize wins, he's not a win maximizer for me.
right.
Until he shows me that he will do this more than once every year and a half,
Hmm.
I figure him for 10 or 11 wins. So
Well,
there, yeah, that's
yeah.
what we got.
Well, it's a lot to think about. And for friends, as you're putting, no doubt, working feverishly on your submission to the Fantasy Oyakata link in the chat, you're also probably wondering, you know, where can I go with some questions or thoughts? And we've got an answer. It's our Facebook page, but don't go there if you want to watch video. I'm
No,
telling you, I do not know what's going on with this. It is quite bizarre. And so I apologize if there are folks who are like, where are you? The place to go is YouTube.
YouTube.
It's YouTube.
It
And
is
you will see YouTube at the bottom link there at Sumo Show. That's what you want to look for.
youtube.com/@sumo show.
That's right. And you will see us as it were like the golden old days of the Sumo Show, but we're there. We're easy to find. You can watch us on demand as well. Facebook, I throw my hands up. That's right. Just throw them up. Wash my hands of it.
Throw my
Before
hands in the air like I just don't care, but I
that's right.
care. I care.
We do care. And what's funny is like it's like, oh, receiving stream, and I'm like, not now. Nope. It's too late for you, Facebook.
Oh, man.
My apologies on behalf of Zuckerberg and pals. We'll figure out what's going on.
Just in time for the tournament to be over.
That's right. That's right. But hey, you go to the dance with the dummy that locks you in the building and you can't leave. That would be Zuckerberg, by the way.
That's very weird bit of advice, but okay.
It was it's kind of like Facebook though, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
you can't you can't love it and you can't live without it or whatever it is. You can't leave it, can't do whatever. I can't even talk. I'm just daddled.
What?
It's kind of
Is
weird,
this
my
even
friend.
English? Are you sure?
No,
Is your mic on?
I'm going right. Yeah, no, I'm going into like some kind of catatonic something.
All right. Well, then let's just remind everyone that you now have
11 hours.
you now have 16 hours.
16
hours left to
hours.
get in on our Fantasy Oyakata game.
Yeah.
Please go. It's free. There are no prizes. There's nothing to win, but except you see that pride that Troy's got. All that.
Listen, I've been dining on this for.
You know where that came from? That came from the Fantasy Oyakata.
I'm a changed man, friends. I'm someone new. I'm a winner, is what I am.
And that could be you.
That's right. And I don't want to discourage you. I mean, I did win the last one, so I'm kind of on my.
You're gonna have to beat Troy.
That's right. That's right. And if
but he's picking Tobizaru, so you've got that danger.
Yes, I am. I should go through my whole list and just fake them all out. But I do want to say too, if you tie with me, whomever you might be, potentially, we will wrestle in person. So just make sure you drop the state.
And if that's the case, Troy has no body. He's disembodied. So you have to wrestle him in person. Guess what? You win.
That's right. No, that is true. No, I guess the most I can make you feel is maybe congested, but I don't want to get in there. I mean, Ay. Well, it's always a delight. And again, apologies to the Facebook folks. We'll figure that out. I hate it when I can't, I feel like my cheat sheet's been fogged over with technical.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole restream is, not to get too much inside baseball here, but restream, on top of whatever Facebook did, restream threw us a big curve.
Real weird one. Like
it's hard to. It's not even. You seem like you're doing everything right, and they're like, "Well, why is it not working?"
Yeah. So we'll sort out the details, but hey, why not? Both orgs change everything for us at the last minute. It's all chaos, but it is still enjoyable, and I'm glad we're able to hang out and talk about it.
Yes, if nothing else, Troy, it's been fun for me to hang out and talk some sumo with you.
Absolutely. Shall I grab these drums?
If you have the drums, I have the outro.
Here we go. Ooh.
You have been listening to The Sumo Show, a live podcast about the art and sport of sumo. Your hosts tonight have been Stan Brown and Troy Hewitt. Production by Troy Hewitt. Sumoliering by Stan Brown. And initial charge by Touchy Eye Troy.
Hi.
So until next Friday, when we will be, go fill out your forms because
Yes.
the tournament starts tomorrow night. We will be back next Friday with a new episode where we talk about days 1 to 6.
That's
Till
right.
then, say to you, Ciao, matane.
Bye.